Goeiedag geliefdes, dit is Deon wat vir 'n paar oomblikke net gou saam met julle kuier. Ek dink soos nou julle almal al weet is dat daar was 'n attempted assassination attempt op president Donald Trump se lewe gewees wat nie geslaag het nie. Dank die Here, Donald Trump het gekyk na die skerm en toe hy terugdraai, toe skiet die patroon om deur sy regteroor. Dit het 'n persoon in die bal, wat 'n deel van die rally was, een persoon is dood, ander persoon is deur die voorarm geskiet en daai patroon het Donald Trump natuurlik ook getref. Ek gaan nou van die video speel. Ek wil net eers voor die tyd vir julle sê is dat ek het so 2-3 maande terug vir Maritza gesê en ek kan al roep, sy kan getuig en ek is spyt ek het dit nie publiek gesê nie, maar het ek vir haar gesê, my liefie, daar kom 'n dag wat Donald Trump daar gaan 'n attempted assassination op sy lewe wees. En 2 maande terug het ek dit vir haar gesê. En ek glo dit was regtig iets wat in my binneste wat ek geweet het wat gaan gebeur en ek moes dit net gespreek het, maar ek het dit nie gedoen in die publiek. Ek het vir haar gesê, hulle gaan hom, ek het gesê, merk my woorde, hulle gaan 'n assassination attempt op hom doen. Die laaste keer toe dit gebeur het, was met Ronald Reagan, en ek glo natuurlik ook die mantel, as ek dit nou so kan noem, van Ronald Reagan het op Donald Trump geval, as jy baie van hulle, want Donald Trump kyk ook baie op na Ronald Reagan, maar nietemin, julle moet die volgende verstaan, die wêreld is in chaos op die oomblik, daar's oorlog tussen Rusland en Oekraïne, en natuurlik die Biden administrasie wat Oekraïne aanhou geld inpomp en wapens voorsien, miljarde en miljarde en miljarde rande. Ek wil julle moet verstaan wat op die wêreldspektrum aan die gang is. Rusland het gesien, toe Amerika uit Afghanistan onttrek het hulle gesien hoe swak Amerika is, en dit is hoekom hulle Oekraïne binnengeval het. China wil graag Taiwan inval en oorvat, en wat hulle gaan doen, dit is net 'n kwessie van maande of dalk 'n jaar of 2, niemand weet presies wanneer nie. Maar behalwe vir dit is natuurlik ook in die Midde-Ooste, ons weet hoe gaan dit met Hezbollah, met Hamas, met die Islamic Jihad ensovoorts. Ek kan aangaan om vir julle alles te noem. Die wêreld is in turmoil. My vraag is, gaan ons terugkyk in die toekoms en sê, dit was in 2022 of wanneer ook al, was dit die begin. That was the triggering point of the Third World War. Ons weet nie, maar wat ek wel weet is, hierdie assassination attempt, hierdie, vergeef my Engels, maar hierdie attempt, hierdie daad om president Donald Trump dood te gemaak het, was as gevolg van die liberale, wat aanhou met hulle haatspraak om vir Donald Trump uit te maak as Hitler en as dit en as dat, en natuurlik het dit al vir die afgelope hoeveel jaar kweek dit haat by mense op, en die liberale het dit reg gekry om natuurlik 'n split te bring in die land. En Donald Trump, nou die dag kyk ek toe Dr. Phil ook met hom onderhoud, ek kyk nie na Dr. Phil nie, maar toe Donald Trump, ek volg Donald Trump se goeders nogal, en toe kyk ek toe Dr. Phil met hom onderhoud het, en almal sê, nie net Dr. Phil nie, maar almal sê, hy's regtig een van die mees hard-skinned people out there. Nog nooit was daar iemand wat moes deurgegaan het, wat hy deurgegaan het in die politiese arena nie. Ek meen, hy is 2 keer geïmpeach en acquitted, 2 keer. Hy was beskuldig, hy is vals beskuldig van Russia hoax en toe van die insurrection van Januarie 6. Julle weet van al daai, baie van julle weet van dit. En behalwe vir dit is, daar is nou oor die 90 indictments wat teen hom gebring word in die hof. Dit is hoor as Al Pacino, die drugsmokkelaar van Mexico. Dit is meer klagtes as wat Al Pacino teen hom het. Dis meer klagtes as wat selfs, wat was die ander drugsmokkelaar se naam, wat ook geleef het, wat hulle ook doodgeskiet het, teen hom gehad het. Donald Trump, wat hulle sê het met Stormy Daniels, buiteegtelike verhouding en sy hush money betaal, oor die 90 klagtes wat hy teen sy naam het, en waar hy heeltyd moet gaan hof toe en om beskuldig te, en dan word hy beskuldig ensovoorts, en alles wat hulle probeer om hom te silence, en natuurlik, ek gaan vir julle video speel, waar, en julle gaan later sien wat gaan gebeur. Ek gaan net nou 'n paar dinge sê wat ek glo gaan volg. Ek gaan eers vir julle nou 'n video speel van, kom ek maak net my sin klaar wat ek wou gesê het, is dat as daai patroon, as Donald Trump uit vir die bord gekyk en toe hy terugkyk, toe skiet die skoot die deur sy oor. Jy mens kan die gat in sy oor sien. Ek praat van haarbreedte van sy, dan was hy dood gewees. As Donald Trump moes dood gewees het, was dit vandag oorlog in Amerika. Links teen regs. En ek gaan vir julle van verskillende bronne af te speel. Sê ek wat dit sê nie. Ek weet dit. Maar toe ek nou vanmôre, want ek sien op die politiese spektrum, kyk ek en ek sien siviele oorlog wat broei oor die wêreld in verskillende, maar in Amerika kan ek sien hoe dat, en self die shooter het 'n video gemaak en gesê hoe haat hy die Republikeine en vir Trump ensovoorts, en hulle het hierdie onsaglike haat teenoor mekaar, die Republicans teenoor Democrats en Democrats teenoor, hierdie was oomblikke weg van Amerika se val gewees. En dis net ons kan net die Here dankie sê dat Donald Trump lewe. Ek was 'n bietjie emosioneel oor dit in die sin van dit is my, omdat ek ook, die Here het van die eerste keer gewys toe hy gaan wen. Die tweede keer het die Here vir my niks gewys nie. Maar hierdie is hartveld. En ek sê nou vir julle, dat vir die volgende paar maande, vir die volgende 5 maande, gaan julle 'n paar dinge sien gebeur. Julle gaan sien dat daar gaan uitkom, dat daar was 'n leak gewees met die sekuriteit, en ek gaan vir julle nou video's ook speel. Nommer 2 is, julle gaan sien hoe dat Trump meer gaan ondersteuning kry, as ooit tevore, gaan hy meer ondersteuning kry. Hy gaan ontsaglike ondersteuning kry, veral van, ek was in Israel 2 weke terug, sê maar 2 weke terug, was ek in Israel. Ek was in Israel, toe die presidential debate in Amerika aan die gang is, toe ek by die hotel kom die aand, toe gaan kyk ek vinnig die presidential debate. Ek was nog laat vir ete ensovoorts, maar ek het die presidential debat gevolg. En toe ek dit gevolg het, en dan was ek weer 'n paar minute daarna, of ja, ek weet nou nie hoe lang daarna nie, toe wat ek dit gaan kyk het nie, toe weet ek, hier kom moeilikheid vir Biden, en hulle gaan hom probeer vervang, of dit of dat, en dis presies wat gebeur het, en hulle het nou sy fondse gevries, en dis hoekom hulle wil Donald Trump uit die weg uit hê, en so, ek kan 100 goed nou sê, ek wil julle met die video's kyk wat gaan volg, ek het 'n paar video's wat ek saamgestel het, luister, kyk, observeer, bewaar jou hart, en weet net, hierdie was oomblikke weg, ek weet nie of mense besef nie, hierdie is oomblikke weg, was oomblikke weg van Amerika se, ek glo val, want as daar siviele oorlog is dit krygswet, en dan was China en Rusland, dan was dit chaos op die wêreldspektrum gewees, want daar sou, en ek gaan vir julle video speel, en kyk julle daarna, dis net my 2 sent wat ek wil lewer op grond van wat gebeur met president Donald Trump, en ek sal meer praat soos wat ek daar aangaan, maar ek wil amper sê, Donald Trump wen die volgende president. Ek sê nie die Here sê nie, ek dink hierdie maak dat Donald Trump wen die volgende presidentskap.
First, the US election has been thrown into chaos after Donald Trump was shot in an attempted assassination at a rally in Pennsylvania.
Had Donald Trump not turned his head at the last moment, we'd be sitting here talking about his death. But for a few millimetres, the world would be a very different place tonight.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
From a historical perspective, we have had assassination and assassination attempts before. That's clearly what happened here tonight. And it looks like this shooter came within a millimeter or two of an assassination tonight. And it's shocking the core of a nation as well. That in an adjacent rooftop that this can happen. What's your overall view and your overall initial thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that we had a little bit of time. I was very emotional earlier. I'm not sure I could have done television because I've known Trump for about 30 years. So I'm watching a personal friend get shot in front of me. I mean, it was a very intimate moment for millions of Americans. And it was a providential moment. If he had turned to look at that big screen, and when he was turned, the bullet would have hit him here. When he turned back, it hit him here. That's how close he came to being killed. And I think we need to understand that. that this was providential and he reacted appropriately. But I also will tell you, he has been vilified by Joe Biden and the Democrats and the left wing more than any president since Abraham Lincoln. And this was a political act. It was a deliberate act. And as you know, because we've talked about it off air, I've said for 4 months that when all the legal baloney fails and when they begin to realize he is going to win, that violence is the next thing because they're that desperate. And I think we need to understand, people in this country have got to decide, are we going to be Americans and talk with each other as Americans, or are we going to become two bitterly divided factions? And right now, if you read what Joe Biden said last night, he's clearly on the bitterly divided side. If he has to totally split this country in order to try to retain office, he'll, at least through last night, he'll say anything no matter the consequences. This is a very, very dangerous moment. And I also have to say, I think the President Trump's courage, and here I echo what his son Eric said, his courage at walking off with the bleeding and putting up his fist and saying fight, to remind the crowd that he was going to go on, and as our champion, he wanted us to go on with him. I thought that'll go down in history, and that will help define who Donald J. Trump is.
Biden told donors on a private call this afternoon, it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. That big boy conference that they had of Joe Biden, they just realized all these donors are getting rid of the money. Clooney, everybody's backing out. They know the only way, because Biden's not leaving, the only way to do it, Pat, and you've been calling it, we've been saying it, is to kill him. Thank God it didn't happen, because what they want is all of us to be fighting and killing each other. If he was killed tonight, nobody's going to sleep. Everybody's going to be taken to the streets and going crazy. It's going to be left versus right. And I just hope this wakes everybody up. It's them against us. All these left morons, Obama, Hillary, all that rhetoric, all that shit talking, all that Hitler talk, this is what we get. This is what you get, an assassination attempt. So guess what? I want to introduce everybody to the 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, period.
Now, the assassin was shot dead at the scene. He was later identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Trump survived the assassination attempt, but the attack raises at least 4 key questions that now need to be asked. First and not least of which, is there a leak in the Secret Service? Danica, there's a couple of really interesting things about the events of earlier today. Firstly, how was a sniper able to position himself on a rooftop with clear line of sight just over 100 metres from Donald Trump? Second, how was it that people in the crowd spotted the sniper before anyone from the Secret Service did? And third, how was it that while police tried to find this suspicious individual, who numerous people had pointed out, Trump was allowed to stand on stage and continue speaking? The moment that there was suspicion that something was afoot, Trump should immediately have been removed from the stage.
I'm going to show you my screen real quick. No word from the White House yet. They have not released a statement. However, this is from former President Barack Obama.
There's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy, although we don't yet know exactly what happened. We should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect into our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery. Yeah.
By the way, good for him for posting this message.
Well, that side better start doing it.
Yeah, and by the way, Vinny, if one thing happens to this guy, America's going to be in shambles.
That's what but PBD, you nailed it. We were a half an inch from the shit hitting the fan. Literally a half an inch. Okay, and these loser freaking Antifa, if that's who they are, shooters, disgusting human beings, bro. We were half an inch away from some dark ass times.
One attendee is dead. Okay.
And PBD, I got another message, PBD, from somebody that's pretty close to the team saying it seems as if the shooter was on the rooftop. If it didn't hit the attendee, Trump is dead. It hit somebody else and then hit Trump. That's somebody messaging me right now that's pretty close to the camp saying he was on the roof, and if it didn't hit that attendee, PBD, Trump is gone.
Okay, let me show you this. Oh. Go ahead, Rob. What were we going to show?
I have video. According to Colin Rugg on Twitter, this is a doctor who tried saving someone's life at the rally, recalls exactly what happened as soon as the shooting happened, if you'd like to hear it.
Go for it.
What did you see, sir?
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. Oh, and so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got
Was there
him
only
up
one
on the
person
bench.
shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
I was the only one who did it.
We need to evacuate.
If you can pull up this video with the guy telling cops, there's a guy on top of the rooftop with a gun that's climbing up. Again, we don't know the level of credibility of this guy, but this is BBC reporting this. Rob, if you can play that clip.
I have the video.
Go for it.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, we just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
Following all of these major developments after the shooting at a campaign rally, former President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, was slightly wounded in the right ear, but we're told by his campaign, by his family, that he's doing fine. Authorities say the shots were fired from a rooftop adjacent to the venue, some 200 to 300 yards away. 8 rounds fired from an AR-style rifle. That information just reported.
But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not on every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Jake Rosen spoke to an emergency room physician who was there, who says he saw a man who he believes was shot in the head.
And Bob, we have that video. Let's play it right now.
To me, as you're trying to figure out if you're okay, what's going on, was he shot, was he wounded? Then we heard him on the microphone, Shannon, saying, let me grab my shoes as they tried to take him off. So we're just trying to figure out what happened.
A tragic moment in this country. Not only do we have this act of political violence, we have bystanders, people out there just exercising their right to support a candidate. potentially shot and killed.
Catastrophic, because if you have a look at this photo of just how close the bullet came to Donald Trump's face, I think we've got that photo hopefully coming up for you soon. But I mean, it came really literally within millimetres. Here it is now. Look at that. You can see it there in a straight line. One wrong turn, one turn of the face to another way, we would be having a very different conversation tonight. And I was listening to our Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen speak earlier in the day, and she said that this is normally such a tightly controlled area. In fact, she explained that the media, for example, need to put their camera equipment 8 hours in advance to the security services so they can do a proper sweep. So you go, if they're doing these sorts of proper checks, how on earth was this allowed to happen? It's really, really catastrophic, and something here, James, just does not add up. In fact, more questions would be asked after having a look at this vision here of the actual Secret Service snipers on top of the roof. Have a look.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
If you watch that video closely, the sniper got off 5 shots before he was eventually taken out by the Secret Service, which is quite amazing. The New York Post are reporting that law enforcement officials are asking how on earth was the guy able to get off 1 shot, let alone 5, before he was taken out. And again, that video shows that the Secret Service had the gunman in their sights, but waited until he'd fired before they eliminated him. I should point out that Donald Trump, in a statement after the attack, thanked the Secret Service for protecting him, as well he would. But there are certainly questions to be asked, and now there's talk of a congressional hearing